Change is simple, but it's not easy.
The world's not ending. Everything's actually okay.
Here are 3 red flags.
Men are natural hunters.
A guy is going to seem very unattractive to women.
They view their intuition like the magic 8 ball.
2, I know I've been having the same issues with her in my classroom as well. She's flunked the past 3 exams and she just keeps repeating, I can't help it, I'm a Pisces, what am I supposed to do? Sue, I gotta call you back. Welcome to the Daddy Academy, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, and happy belated Mother's Day to all the moms out there. We have a really fun and educational episode today, okay? A little bit of a change of pace, but I think you're really gonna learn a lot. I'm excited for you to see this conversation. And just to fall back on what we talked about last week, if you could like and subscribe to this page, it's gonna really help us grow. I think it was like something like 78% of the audience who watches the show isn't subscribed to the YouTube, okay? So please hit that button, help us out. So without further ado, let's get into the show. Our next guest on the show is my friend Katie, a professional wellness and relationship coach, and we had a really interesting conversation. I think you guys are gonna love it. We talked about rewiring your brain, your subconscious thoughts, and how that plays into your dating life, and a topic that I found really interesting hearing her perspective on, a woman's intuition. Katie, welcome to the Daddy Academy. What's up?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I mean, we've been following each other on TikTok, Instagram. We do very similar things, and I've been a fan of what you talk about a lot. I think sort of like the undertone of what I talk about when it comes to dating.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of connected, like our thinking patterns and whatnot. And you have a very similar mindset, so I thought it'd be fun to have you on and chat about it a little bit. Why don't you tell the people about yourself, what you do?
Yeah. Thank you for having me again. So I'm a life and relationship coach. I really started doing that after sharing similar content like you, with that very specific perspective and point of view that I think kind of like you isn't mainstream. Like, I think it might be argued a lot, or it might be the not the most comfortable perspective that I think me and you both share that similarly. And from there, making content, I realized that people needed it more than just in a 3-minute video. So I got into coaching and helping people through dating, relationships, rewiring their subconscious to show up differently. So yeah, that's really what I do full time now, is my coaching.
How did you get into it?
So really through content creation first. I was doing it through content creation first. I would say that was kind of like the foot in the door, but I don't know if you resonate with this, but for me, it was actually more so just life experience of my own relationships, dating, my own childhood, things like that, growing up and realizing that certain things that, you know, society-wise, that's been deemed as like normal, especially with women, that we should be a certain way or ask certain things or demand certain things. I was like, it's not working out for me. Yeah. It's not going well, you know? So I think it really started with content creation, but I would really say my work really comes from just life experience.
Where'd you grow up?
Long Island.
On Long Island. I'm from Westchester County.
Okay, nice.
New York. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so I liked how you even set that up, talking about rewiring your subconscious mind. I think there's so much about the way we behave on a day-to-day, the way that we show up in relationships, that it's like you said, I mean, subconscious. We don't even know that we're
95% of it.
95%. I'm a professor. That's a pretty high percentage. Okay, 95 is pretty high.
95%. Yeah.
So what steps do you give people in order to start kind of like, even just becoming self-aware of that?
Yeah, so I think really what happens when people wind up in my office, quote unquote, my Zoom office, is I think that they're noticing that the 95% is taking over, and I don't think they realize that it's the 95%. Usually it looks or sounds something like, most of my clients are very self-aware. I'm very lucky that I have very self-aware, intelligent clients, male and female, and the session usually starts with them showing up saying, I know I'm doing this thing, but I think I have something wrong with me because I can't stop. Like, I know I'm doing it. I'll do it in a relationship and dating. I think I learned my lesson, you know, whether it's even just like an unhealthy behavior or it's choosing the wrong person, whatever. And they're like, why do I keep doing it? And, you know, I think we've all been there where we're doing something. We say it's like the last time ever, and then we keep doing it. And what I like to tell people is that you're trying to fight 95% versus 5% of your conscious brain, and your 5% does not stand a chance against the 95%. So really what I try to do with people, there's many different ways to do this, with resetting the subconscious and rewiring the subconscious. There was, for a long time, I think it's only like a 50-year-old concept that we can rewire our brains. Our brains are super plastic throughout our entire lifetime. We used to think that, in our 20s it was fixed and it was done, but it's not. But there's many ways to do it. I mean, we've all heard of the mainstream waves through like affirmations and through the more spiritual or whatever kind of ways. And not that those ways are not good ways, they are, but I have found what has worked the best for me, for my clients, and even just scientifically, is through action. It's through repetition. So the subconscious gets rewired through repetition, period.
Totally.
And I think those affirmations are a great tool in the toolbox, but it's really through teaching them how to just show up differently. And we've all also have heard of like kind of fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
like you have
I say that a lot.
Yeah, you have to just show you, especially I'm sure you see a lot with your the work that you do of people like they're super insecure, they have anxious attachment, or they're avoidant and they want to be secure, they want to find a certain kind of man or a certain kind of woman, and it's like you actually just have to show up that way. And that's how you'll change. You can't wait to have all the right, understanding your trauma or understanding your partner, or it's really like you got to just do it
because it's never ending. You could sit and ruminate and think about all the things that you're doing. The action is what, I love that you said that. The action is what makes the biggest difference as far as change happening. First of all, change, it's very hard to change. It's easy. It's easy.
It's easy. It's
a trick. It's tricky.
It's simple.
It's simple. That's a good way to put it. It's simple,
but it's not easy.
It's simple, but it's not easy. Humans, I'm sure you realize this, we like things that are comfortable. We like comfortable situations. We like comfortable relationships. We don't
even like it, actually.
Right, that's a good point. We don't even like it.
We don't like it. We're wired for it.
Right. It's just the action, because it keeps us safe.
Yeah, your brain just cares about safety. It doesn't care about happiness, doesn't care about love. It cares about comfortability and safety.
Right. And your brain doesn't really know what's best for you.
No.
Most of the time.
No, just on a survival level.
It's survival level. So you have to take action in order to have those different reference experiences for your brain to then be like, oh no, I actually like this more. I'm choosing this more. And then every day you use that willpower to slowly choose a different version for your life. And that's how change starts to happen. But it takes months, a month, 2 months, 3 months. It's never ending. It's never ending. But
it's never ending.
What do they say? To start a new habit takes, I don't know.
I hear all different things. I hear 22 days, 66 days. I just don't even count the days, just do it. And another thing that people say that's very common, but also true, is that human change is highly possible, which means we all can, but it's not highly probable because most people just won't. And it's not that you can't, you just won't. You won't put in what you need to put in. And kind of like you were saying before, that you show up differently and your brain is like, oh wait, I like this way. Let's keep doing this way. But also really what you're doing is, because again, the brain is not really like or dislike. You're showing your brain like, oh wait, I'm showing up this way and the world's not ending. Everything's actually okay. It's finding safety in creating a new neural pathway and finding safety in new ways. And it's like, oh wait, we can, not have to answer a text right away. And we can wait a couple hours and look, I didn't get left. I'm not dying alone. I'm not everything's okay. So it's retraining new safety in your brain, really.
Right. Yeah, this is all the stuff that's underneath the tactical dating advice that I can give somebody.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, so he texted me this, what do I say? Okay, I can help you with that. But if underneath the surface, it's a dumpster fire, then you're always gonna continue to do the same thing over and over. Yeah. And that's most people's problem. And honestly, that's the problem I see the most in men, because a lot of men, coping mechanisms. I mean, women probably do this too, but a lot of guys I see, video games, heavy video game coping mechanism. You got the drugs, you got the alcohol, the obvious things. And just that day to day in the same rut, which is why a lot of men aren't really that attractive to women, because they're not thriving. And for a man to be attractive, he has to be a go-getter. He has to have a passion and a purpose, striving for something in life, about improving his mind, his body, in the gym. So it's if these things aren't lining up, a guy is going to seem very unattractive to women.
I mean, on like a primitive level,
Right.
Like, it's like
Right,
it's not
right.
even something that we even decide. You might not even know why you're not attracted to him.
Exactly.
You're like, I'm not. Like, this guy's like, he's really hot. And he's got a great person, but I don't know why. I'm just not into him. And I think same thing with females.
Yeah.
Like when I have women that are like, you know, texting all the time and they're super available and they're super like they're being the pursuer.
Right.
Like, men are natural hunters. Like, if you know, as a hunter, if you open up your doorstep and like, excuse my language, but like the buffalo is at your front door, like, you didn't have to work for it. You don't want it anymore.
He'll
like,
still
like,
the buffalo.
He will.
He will that buffalo. Don't get me wrong, but he'll be like, after that, it's done.
But it's done after that.
It's
It's done
done.
after that. Exactly. And I just, it's like, it is a game on both sides, honestly. And I'm really, and I'm sure you're similar, that I not in the camp of playing games, because I'm just not, but there are certain things that just are the way they are.
I say game is understanding attraction. Then there's playing games, which would be understanding attraction to manipulate an outcome.
Manipulation, exactly.
So,
and I guess both are technically a form of manipulation, but one is just...
One's the way it needs to be done. There's a way certain things, as far as the courting stages of men and women and developing attraction, there is a way that it needs to be done, or there's a way that when it's done that way, it's there.
And I think, I don't know about you with men, but I know a lot of women sometimes when I talk to them about this, they get upset because they're like, I don't understand why I have to act unavailable or busy. But I'm like, it's not about you acting a certain way to be more desirable to him. What you don't realize is that you will actually feel more desirable.
Yes.
Like, you will feel better. And I think that's where they go wrong sometimes, is they're like, okay, I won't answer his text for 2 hours, but you're going to go sit around and wait. It's like, no, go do something. Like,
go do something.
Go really be busy. Yeah. So it's just, and even like you were saying before with men, of like sitting around playing video games, getting lost in shit, and like they need purpose, they need direction, they need to like take care of themselves. I've seen this with the men I've worked with. I don't know about you, but sometimes I say to them, I'm like, it's not that you need to go and like get your PhD and like be like the top-notch athlete. Like, it's not that. No. You don't have to be the best of the best. Just have purpose. Just have direction.
There's got to be, as a man, there needs to be something that you're passionate about and that you're striving to get better at every day. And listen, like, your job, you might have a 9 to 5 that's just like, I don't know, maybe it's construction, right? You're not passionate about being a construction worker, but you're a construction worker. But you love the gym. You're in the gym 6 days a week. You want to compete in a bodybuilding show. I don't know. But like, there's a purpose there, right? Yeah. So like, even if your 9 to 5 isn't your purpose, you need a side hustle or thing that gives you that sense of purpose as well, especially for men. Women too as well, but women are a little different. Like you kind of need to nurture your femininity, self-help type stuff, like, you know.
Yeah, well, especially creativity is massive with women. Anytime I have any woman in my office, and they're struggling with, let's just say, like anxious attachment or codependency, the two things that I always see that they're struggling with the most, there's usually 4, but the 2 things that they're usually lacking the most in is some kind of spiritual relationship and their creativity. Those 2 things. And usually when they're coming in, they're like, I don't know why I'm so obsessed with like what my husband's doing, what my boyfriend's doing, or the guy that I'm dating. And I'll ask them, like, what's your creative life like, and what's your relationship
That's really
with God
interesting.
like?
I didn't think
those 2 things go hand in hand. Absolutely.
Here are 3 red flags to look for in a man that you ladies usually ignore, but you really shouldn't. Number 1, a man who is controlling. The only person you can control is yourself. So when a man is trying to change the way that you live your life, it is a big red flag. Realistically, it actually is a sign of something more serious going on potentially, and it's a safety issue. So if a man's trying to control what you do, how you move, who you talk to, big red flag, we gotta walk away from that. Number 2, a man who is jealous, okay? Having a boundary is one thing. If a man doesn't like, you staying out till 4 o'clock in the morning, is a little that's not jealousy, that's a man who has a boundary, right? Jealous, always wondering who you're talking to, where you're going, who's this guy, who's that person, who's that coworker, right? It's a sign of insecurity. And it's a red flag because realistically, that isn't something that usually goes away, and it's gonna plague your relationship for however long it goes on. Number 3, a man who is overly emotional, okay? A man is supposed to be your emotional rock. He's supposed to keep you grounded. If he's all over the place, crying about this, crying about that, freaking out, you're gonna start to feel crazy. I can guarantee you are gonna start feeling really crazy, and it's gonna lead, basically all three of these things are gonna combine to one big cluster issue. So if a man is overly emotional, you gotta walk away from that. It's a little scary. So let's talk about overthinking a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's the thing that, I mean, I go through my DMs and it's just essays and essays of people just like, this guy did this. I'm like, relax. Like there's a lot going on here, and you're sitting around spiraling. How do you help people who are in that loop of just overthinking? It's like a nervous system sort of response. Honestly.
Well, it is. It is a nervous system response. Then I guess there's a bunch of different types of overthinking. Like there's the rumination, and then there's the questionings of the what ifs, and then there's closing the gap with worst case scenarios. So usually when people are closing the gap with the worst case scenario, that is just a survival response of you're not doing well with uncertainty, and you're not doing well with not knowing. So your brain will close the gap however it has to prepare you to, usually with worst case scenario. Why isn't he answering me back? I don't know, because he has a full-time job, but instead he's deading me, he hates me, I fucked up, I said something stupid, I'm ugly, and it's like, relax. Like there's that. But typically, I guess it depends on what they're overthinking about. But what I find is that most of my overthinkers are because they're just not good at practicing detachment and being okay with uncertainty. And believe it or not, the approach that I actually take with a lot of my clients that I learned through my own treatment years ago is I'll actually take like the OCD approach with them, that it's obsessive. There's obsessive compulsive disorder, but in this day and age, we're all a little obsessive compulsive, even if you take the disorder out of it. We're all a little obsessive compulsive when we're anxious. And the way through healing OCD, especially when rumination is one of the compulsions, is by removing the compulsion. So it's like if you're sitting there overthinking about what's going on in your dating life, your marriage, whatever, about yourself, it's like that's a compulsive behavior. And what you're doing is you're actually feeding the loop by continuing to engage with it. So I don't want to say, again, like we said, simple versus easy. A hard way to break it, but a very simple way to break it actually is through mindfulness. And it is just getting present in the moment and really just focus on what's in front of you. And going back to the creativity with women, that's why it's so important to, and when you're spiraling, and again, these women that are in these ruminative spells, and men as well, it's like, what I say to them with all the love of my heart, I'm like, how bored are you? Like, what are you, like, you're bored. So
right,
you're
when bored.
I'm ruminating, I'm bored. And then it comes back to, what's your creative outlet? What do you do? And it's, I don't really do anything. It's like, go bake something, go cook something, go paint something, go for a walk, go do something creative. And the spiritual aspect usually ties into the detachment side of things. If it's not in my hands anyway, let it go.
Yeah, no, that's huge. So to that same point, I mean, I guess to overthinking, something that I say to women a lot is like, trust your intuition, right? Your intuition is usually right. It's usually right. But then the argument is like intuition versus like anxiety.
Yeah, that's, if I had a freaking dollar for every comment, DM, inquiry that I've gotten based off of that fear.
Right.
I think I have a very different view on that, coming from somebody who is I'm an extremely intuitive person, but I'm also a very anxious person. So I've had that battle before of like, oh my gosh, which is which. I never ever want to steer any woman away from their intuition ever, because it's our superpower, but I usually suggest that they don't. I think why women end up getting into the intuition anxiety struggle is because they view their intuition like the magic 8-ball, or like it's a message from like a psychic. Like it's a definitive answer. So they attach certainty to the intuition, and it's like, oh my gosh, what if it's telling me to leave? What if it's telling me to stay? Like, what if I shouldn't marry him? What if I shouldn't? It's like they're putting they're not able to read it the right way. Like it's more of like I almost say like it's just a direction. It's a suggestion. It's your best choice is what it's leading you towards. But with the anxiety intuition, your intuition is never People say it's a whisper. People say it's quiet. It will never start the way anxiety does with like what if, with panic.
Yeah.
But I even go beyond that. I don't even think it's a whisper. I don't even think it's words. I think it's just
a feeling.
You really do just know. Like,
yeah.
and I think people think too far into that, but you just know, and it doesn't come with the same physiological experience that anxiety comes with.
So to that point, I guess a lot of people maybe are sitting on a decision, right? And their intuition is telling them one thing, right? At what point do you trust that voice and take an action on it? Do you have a...
Give me an example, because there's different answers to that. But give me an example of you're sitting on a decision.
Interesting. It's like, is this guy meant for me? Right? I've been dating this guy, and there's some things that aren't so great about him, but I really love him. I love him as a person, great guy, but I feel like it might not be right.
So I think there's two different ways to answer that, and I think both are fine. And the one way I'll go with, like, that would probably trigger a lot of people is you don't ever need a reason to leave. You don't.
It's a good point.
You don't need to. You owe nobody in this world an explanation. If we're going the direction of something just doesn't feel right here, I don't feel safe here, I don't feel comfortable here. Like, listen, I'm not even saying to always give in to that, but I want to let people know that you don't ever owe somebody an explanation. If you're with a guy and you're just not feeling it, he's great, he checks these, but I'm just not into it. You don't owe. I don't really want to be here anymore is a good enough answer. On the other side of it, and this is really more of the camp that I'm in, because I obviously, again, just want to always offer a way out, but the camp that I'm more so in, and it really does enter that OCD lens, is like, maybe not. Maybe he is your guy, maybe he's not. And this is where trust comes in, that stop trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, stop trying to figure it out and just let the relationship be. Because if you're constantly in this anxious state, and you're like, I don't know if he's for me, I don't know if it's right. I could tell you right now, if you're this anxious all the time, you're not even yourself right now.
Yeah, right.
So you can't even deem if this is good for you or not, because you're not even being yourself at the moment.
Yeah.
So it really comes into trust of just let the relationship be. And if you will know, especially as a woman, and I don't mean to take away from men, but especially as a woman, you will know one day if it's just not for you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you will. You just will. And if and when that day comes, you'll leave and you'll figure it out and you'll move on and you'll grieve the relationship and you'll go from there. But I would really say, stop trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, it still goes back to the overthinking thing, where I think as a society, we actually think too much rather than 100%. Living in the present moment. And it's a really hard thing to do.
We don't do well with uncertainty.
The present moment's scary, and it's hard to be there. I think people throughout the day might have flashes of being in the present moment, and then you'll come out of it. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, have you read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle?
Yes.
One of my favorite, I read that book, I've recommended it before. I read that book literally once a month, at least.
Yeah, people are obsessed with that. It
is so powerful, and he talks about all different things in there as far as overthinking patterns and whatnot. But it really recenters you. And for me personally, I mean, I don't know if people have access to these sort of things, but as far as taking physical action, I loved ice baths. Yeah. Ice baths, cold plunges. As far as just kind of like centering your nervous system.
Well, it brings you right back.
That's
back. Dialectical behavioral therapy. That's like really emotional regulation. It's like a shock to the system. So
powerful. That coupled alongside of reading a book, working with a coach like Katie, like that, and really owning it and doing it and being committed to that change every single day, that's how you change.
Yeah.
That's how you change as a person. And action. I mean, the action of doing those things and committing to it every single day.
Right, it's getting so clear. I don't care if you have anxious attachment, avoidant attachment. I don't care what you've been through, who you are, what you think you're capable of or not. It's genuinely getting so clear, even if you think it's not possible. It's getting so clear on who do I want to be and what does this person embody? What do they eat? What do they wear? Where do they go? Who are their friends like? What are their hobbies?
So
and it's showing up that way.
This is a little bit of like the fake it until you make it thing, which is true. And I think it works for men and women. I think for guys, like if I was going to give men advice here, a lot of guys might be like not the most confident version of themselves. And to be confident, to get women, you have to be confident, right? So I always say it's like, take your personality and dial it up like 30%.
Yeah.
You're almost like a character version of yourself.
Yeah,
or
as
if you're playing yourself in a movie, right?
Yeah,
and dial that up and act like that. And I'm telling you, the treatment that you get from people is totally different.
Yeah. And I'll also add to that with men and women, but I'll say more so with men on a confidence scale. Courage builds confidence.
Yes.
So you need to do hard things. And even you saying the ice bath thing, like the ice bath thing
it's
is
hard.
amazing.
It's horrible.
But it's freaking hard. It's good for nervous system regulation. But when you do something that you're like, I don't
want to do this, and I get in the bath anyway.
You do it, you immediately build courage. And then from the courage, you build confidence. And then you will, without thinking that you need to be some like macho dude, you will start showing up differently because you're now... Your reality is matching a new narrative in your head. When you think that you're not confident or you're not good enough, our brains need our realities to match the narratives that are in our head. But they're going to look for ways that you're not good enough. You are insufficient. You're not confident.
And it's easier for your brain to do that than the opposite.
100%. So you have to show up differently.
You
can't wait for it to happen. Yes. And I think that's the mistake we all make is, the lifelong tale of like, when I have this, I'll be that way. I'll be happy. When I'm
You have to live as if. You have to live as if.
Live as if.
If you want to find a man, like you have to live as if like everything's perfect. I already have it, and
I would end that with live as if, and it will. Like
you live as if. It will, and it will, and even talking more about the action. A lot of people say to me like, oh, I want to meet. Like I hate the dating apps. I want to meet a guy in person. But then you might see this person walking down the street. They have their headphones in. They're grumpy. They don't talk to anybody. I'm like, how do you think that action is going to get the result of attracting someone? So you have to. So those people, when they say that to me, I'm like, what you have to do is every day, every single stranger you bump into, you start a little like 2-minute conversation with them. No headphones in. You're completely changing the way you exist out in the world. And nowadays, I mean, it's hard with our we're all addicted to these iPhones and so it's like it's very easy for people nowadays, more so than 20 years ago, to be present and to be social and have that connection, eye-to-eye, face-to-face connection with people. It's funny that I'm saying now we're talking through an iPad.
I know.
But we'll have you on the couch eventually. But
I'll be there.
Yeah, for sure. But like, you need to change your way of life. And the funniest part about it is it might seem a little scary, but when you actually do it, your quality of life is like 20 million times better. I was out last night. I was like just drinking a little bit. So this morning I was like a little hungover. Not too bad though, not too bad. The professor can't be, I run an academy here. But in the car I was kind of like in an okay mood. And the Uber driver started chatting it up with me. And I'm like, I have to talk to this guy right now.
Yeah.
For half an hour we talked about his wife, how he met his wife. But I'm like, and then I got here and I'm getting ready to talk to people like you. And I'm like, I feel alive because I had that.
You had human interaction.
I had a human interaction. And that's honestly, what these dating apps, people are just scrolling. Yes, no. It's like, if used the right way as a tool, that's why I say with dating apps, if you use it as a tool and use it the right way, great. You could easily meet somebody on a dating app. Happens all the time. Yeah. But if you're using it like just,
replacement.
Exactly. It kind of it loses what it's meant to help people to do. And technology is great in a lot of ways, but obviously we kind of sink into that lower level consciousness with these things and that technology gives us and ends up being a huge negative.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Katie, I feel like we could talk for like 5 hours. So let's do this.
We probably can.
We'll have you on again. I know you're launching a show, right?
Yeah, I'm going to shoot my own podcast right now.
There we go. Okay, well, I'll come on there sometime.
Yes, you'll come to me. I told you I'm right in Long Island.
There we go.
Come into the city and come hang out on the couch and dish.
Beautiful. Yeah, let's do it again sometime. This was awesome. Yeah. Thanks for coming on and chatting with us, Katie.
Thank you guys so much for having me. We'll talk soon.
Talk soon, Katie. I'll see you later.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.